So, a searing few days for the APC and its political machine, possibly the most divisive they've ever been reported to be, and coming at the worst time just ahead of the presidential election. There are dozens of headlines about the clash between Nasir El Rufai, governor of Kaduna State and staunch supporter of the APC presidential candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and the presidency, with Mallam El Rufai suggesting that some people in the presidential villa in Abuja were working to frustrate Mr. Tinubu's victory. Well, the government has denounced that insinuation, with the Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, insisting the government was unaware of anyone in the presidency working against any candidate in the upcoming ballot.
Is that no matter who, this administration is focused and determined to ensure a free and fair election. And I think this administration and those that matter now, who was the most important person in this administration to me is Mr. President. And I think he has shown by words and by deed that he is committed to a free, fair and credible election. And fair, free and credible election actually means not favoring anybody or disadvantaging anybody. And everywhere he goes, he makes that very clear. Even as recently as Friday, when he was in Daura, he said the same thing. So if there's anybody who's working against any candidate, we don't know officially.
Well, for his response on the day after the night before, I'm suitably delighted to say that the governor of Kaduna State, Mallam Nasir El Rufai, joins me now in the studio. Absolutely delighted to see you, Governor. Thank you very much indeed for honoring us with your presence. What's your reaction to the reply by the Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, that contrary to what you said on Channels Television, that there is no one who is officially working to frustrate the victory of Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the presidency, and that President Buhari has done nothing more than demonstrate his commitments to free, fair and credible elections? That's what he said.
Well, look, I haven't seen the TV event that my brother Lai Mohammed said that. But let me restate exactly what I said. I'm a quantity surveyor. I am mathematically tuned to be accurate even in my use of words. What I said was, we are convinced that there are elements in the villa, some elements in the villa that want APC to lose the elections. I did not say the federal government. I did not say Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. I said APC, all right? So I don't understand why the federal government is responding to what I said, because the federal government is not part of it. And I referred to elements in the villa, and I know who I'm referring to, and those that are in the villa know who I'm referring to. And with the greatest respect, even Lai Mohammed, my brother, knows who I'm referring to. And I think it's inappropriate for him as Minister of Information of Nigeria to respond to a statement that specifically referred to individuals rather than any institution. If I had said the villa is against us, then I would expect Garba Shehu or additional my two brothers to respond to me. If I said the federal government was frustrating the APC, then I would expect Lai Mohammed to respond. Why he responded to that, I cannot fathom, frankly. I still stand by my words that there appears to be very strong evidence of a conspiracy to incite voters against the APC in the forthcoming elections by coming up with ad hoc decisions and policies that are not well thought out, that have not received widespread consultation and a whole of government approach to incite the voters to vote against the APC at all levels, because these policies are seen as not only insensitive, not well thought out, but aimed at punishing people, and they will take it out on us as a party and on our candidates that are innocent bystanders in this whole thing.
Right. So if I might ask you, who are the people and why do you reckon they don't want Mr. Tinubu or the APC to emerge as winners?
I will not get to the people yet, but those of us that have been around in Abuja know them. I will know, if it has to get to that point, we can name and shame them. All right, would prefer to do that after we've won the elections, quite frankly. But you know, we are convinced that there is such a plan, and it is using the primary innocence of President Buhari and relying on his past records and past decisions to sell a dummy to him to do something. We've been in government for 8 years. If it was the policy of the APC government to change currency, we would have done it much earlier. Our policy stance in every sector of the economy is clear. It's in our manifesto, and we went from day one and tried outright to implement it. This thought, this thinking to change the currency is designed just to bring a serious bottleneck that will affect the outcome of the elections, because these same people wanted President Buhari to be succeeded by someone else, and that person did not win the elections, and that someone else is not the vice president, because I saw some reports in the newspapers saying that mentioning Professor Yemi Osinbajo. No, not at all. These people are northerners like us. They are northerners like Buhari, but they are intent on undermining his legacy by ensuring that they cause a crisis, because after 8 years of Buhari, if he's succeeded by another northerner, there are chances that would have more pockets of crisis in the country.
But some would argue, though, that if there is this plot that you're talking about, that President Buhari himself is subscribing to that plot, because he just came out a few days ago to make a very fervent, very robust statement supporting the redesign of the Naira.
Yes, he believes in the redesign of the Naira, okay? Because he did it before. He did it in 1984. He believes it is the way that all those people that have stashed billions of Naira in their homes will be caught out, either to come and deliver the money to the bank so that the EFCC can trace and ask, how did you get this money? This is the dummy that they sold to him. And of course, when they sell this dummy, they will say, you know, these governors have billions of Naira in their houses. Charles, I don't have 100,000 Naira in my house. And I challenge anyone to tell me every penny I have in Nigeria and in the whole world is in my 2 or 3 bank accounts in Nigeria.
Yeah, but I doubt if the focus is on you.
No, I am giving. I can only speak for myself.
Sure.
Because the governors are the punch bags of the Federal Republic, and what these people in the villa do is always to say, oh, governors have a problem. Governors are thieves. Governors don't want local government autonomy. Everything is governors, forgetting that it is the governors that worked hard to form this party. It is the governors that raised money and organized and delivered President Buhari in 2015. It is the governors that did it again in 2019, okay? And some of them that played no role in this matter became very influential, hijacked the government, literally did what they want. We never complained because we have our states to govern. But to try to make governors the point of getting everything through is wrong. President Buhari honestly believes that changing the currency redesign is a good policy, and I believe it is too. I have no problem with the redesign. I believe that there are people with lots of cash in their houses, and they should come out deposit it in the banks and explain how they got it, and let them be taxed properly.
So what's the issue
I subscribe
that
to
you've
that.
got with it?
There are two issues with the redesign that we have problems with. The first is the timing. Tell me how it makes political, economic, or electoral sense to do this a few months to the elections. One. Second, granted, it's been announced, the president has announced it. We love the president. We believe in the cleanliness of his heart, and we are ready to support any policy that he pronounces, no matter how difficult. Put aside the fact that as subnationals, maybe you ought to have been in the loop about this. Okay, but since we are the criminals with billions of naira, maybe we are supposed to be surprised, right? But to implement this policy, governors are needed. If you are sincere about reaching every nook and cranny of Nigeria, every village, and get their currency changed, we have to be involved to provide the logistics and so on. We are the chief security officers of our state. Okay, we are not involved, but we believe in the cleanliness of the heart of President Buhari. We said we support it. However, which brings us to the second problem. The timing. Sorry, not the timing. The time period for its implementation. How is it possible, okay, for over 200 million Nigerians that hold these currencies to change them within a matter of weeks? Where in the world has this ever been done? It's never been done. Yeah, but okay, so what we are saying is, one, we support the policy. Everyone with cash, bring it out and explain. No problem. But second, let's take into account the fact that not every part of Nigeria is Abuja or Lagos, where there are bank branches. I'll give 3 examples. In Borno State, because of Boko Haram, out of 27 local governments, only 2 have bank branches. Okay? In Yobe State, again because of Boko Haram insurgency, out of 17 local governments, only 2 have bank branches. In my state of Kaduna, which is one of the most advanced in terms of modernization in the north, we have 2 local governments that have no bank branches. We have many local governments that have only 1 bank branch in the local government headquarters. So every poor farmer, every poor trader who essentially deals in cash, sells his goods in cash, collects in cash, doesn't know what POS is, there is no network around his village, so even if you have POS, it doesn't work there. You want him to bring his money and change, and the nearest bank to him is 200 kilometers away. How does that work? Yeah. How can you do that without sitting with us and understanding our different terrains? Because when we met as governor, the governor of Lagos was saying, look, my problem is that all the cash has been deposited in the banks, all the old notes, but we're not getting new notes. So he has a shortage problem. But the governor of Yobe said, my problem is that there is nowhere to deposit the cash. People cannot travel 200 kilometers to the nearest bank to deposit cash, and they don't know when they will get it. Now, remember that Borno State is 3-4 times the 5 states of the Southeast Zone. Kaduna State is 2.5 times the 5 states of the Southeast Zone. These are the sort of geographical diversities we are seeing. So you can't just sit down in Abuja and do that. You need to look at these things. And that's all we are saying. The National Assembly said this process should be extended till June or by 6 months. We, as representatives of the people, they have passed a resolution. We support it. But what we are saying as progressive governors is, let us agree that this thing ain't working. The time period allotted needs to be looked at. The 10 days extension is pathetic. It's nothing. Okay? Let us sit down, do a logistics analysis state by state, because the problems of Lagos differ from the problems of Niger State. Okay? Let's look, where are these bank branches? Where do you have network? Charles, I don't know if you have tried to transfer money on your phone in the last 2 days.
Well, you could make the same argument about holding elections using beavers and doing the transmission of results and so on, because there are many parts of Nigeria where there isn't network.
Yes, but
it's still going to be the system.
Beavers will work whether there is network or not, as soon as
you get to a place there's a network.
It sends, okay? And remember, beavers will operate on a day, on Saturday, where there is no economic or social activity in Nigeria. So the network will be relatively freer for everyone. But here, if you've tried to transfer money in the last 2 days, you see a clear problem. Already the network is congested. Even in Abuja and Lagos, the network is congested. That has not been taken into account even in formulating the policy. And this is what happens when you don't have a whole of government approach to this policy. The Minister of Digital Economy, NCC, needs to be on the table if this is to work. The Minister of Finance should be on the table. They were not. And we were not.
Right. I'm still trying to understand why you think that there are elements within the presidency who are behind. I mean, they're essentially a plot to undermine the APC and the presidential candidate of the APC.
Yes, the elements I'm referring to sold this idea to the president, okay? They know he will quickly subscribe to the idea because he has done it before in 1984, okay? So he will relate to it. This makes sense. And there are allegations of billions of naira in people's homes. So he'll accept it. Those elements will not point out to him that there are constraints, network constraints, bank branch distribution constraints, so on and so forth. It sounds like a good policy. That's it.
And you think it's a plot to target the APC?
We believe it is a plot.
Right.
We believe it is a plot.
Because, I mean, more than anything else, I mean, this back and forth that we're hearing between people like yourself, we've heard the presidential candidate of the APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, making the same kind of implied allegations, criticism of the APC government's policies, which, by the way, is the APC government, which is your government. It suggests, though, does it not, Governor, that there are deep divisions within the APC?
There are no divisions.
The question is how deep?
No, there are no divisions within the APC. These elements are not even APC members. They are parasites. They parasite on Buhari and his success. They are not APC members. But they are influential because they are around him all the time, and some of us are influential too. But I have a state to govern. I'm not going to sit in the villa from morning till night with the president, okay? So the APC is united, okay, as a party. We have never been more united. Our governors are on one page, all right? And we are working very hard to ensure that we deliver Asiwaju as the president. And by the grace of God, we will, in spite of their machinations. However, okay, these stumbling blocks were created to make it more difficult for us because these elements did not get what they wanted. They wanted their own presidential candidate. The governors united and insisted that there will be no single candidate anointment. There will be competitive primaries, and Asiwaju won. Okay. The rumors are being dropped that governors are meeting with the opposition and so on. No governor of the APC is working with any opposition.
But I'm wondering why it would affect the APC specifically, because there are other parties.
They are inciting the voters against them. You just said it, okay?
Right.
If people are suffering, if people cannot buy groceries, if people cannot trade, if commerce grinds to a halt before the elections, and you are voting, you will confuse this policy with that of the ruling party.
But I don't know if you know that there have been lots of interviews, lots of person on the street surveys that have suggested that many Nigerians, that a preponderant majority of Nigerians support this policy insofar as they believe that it will help deliver a cleaner election, even though it's imposing privations on them.
That is not what our surveys are showing. That is not what we are hearing, and we are state governors. Already in Lagos, there are pockets of protests today. You don't want another NSAS, okay? This protest will happen if people cannot buy groceries, if the stock of food they have at home finishes, and they have no currency to buy, okay? And I want to state this for the avoidance of any doubt. This is not an APC policy. It is not in our manifesto. We never promised in our manifesto that we'll redesign currency. We never promised in our manifesto we'll do anything of that.
But the president
if we did,
supports that policy.
We support it too. It makes sense. But I'm saying people should understand that this is an ad hoc policy, knee-jerk reaction, okay, to solve a particular problem. But it is not an APC policy. It is the policy of Mr. President. We subscribe to it. All we are saying is give more time for people to have value for their hard-earned money. Not every Nigerian has stashes of money or is a criminal. The government, more than anyone, with all the agencies it has, knows who are the criminals more than we do. But as a state governor, right, I know poor farmers who have millions of naira because they have sold hundreds of tons of maize to Olam and it's in cash. And they are stuck in Cubao and they can't change it. And as the governor of the state, it is my duty to stand up for them.
But you support President Buhari when he says that he wants to create a level playing field for not one or some, but all the candidates.
Yeah, he has always been like that. But a level playing field does not mean, coming up with policies that are not well thought out that will end up hurting one of the parties because it has the misfortune of being in power. And Charles, tell me, where in the world will a sitting government try to disown its own party? It's not done. It's not done. These are some of the things that you see and hear that we are educated people, we are experienced people, we've been around. There is nowhere in the world where you say level playing field. It's for INEC to say that.
Right.
INEC is responsible for elections. It's not President Buhari that will conduct elections.
Yeah, but
all we require from President Buhari is to put in the infrastructure, the electoral and security infrastructure to have free and fair elections. But it is his duty to campaign for our party. And he has been campaigning for our party.
Right, but
okay, when he speaks as president, he may say that. But when he went to Yola, he held Asiwaju's hand and said, "This is my successor."
But his first
because
responsibility,
he went to Yobe,
right,
and did that. So when he goes out as a member of APC on our campaign, he campaigns for Asiwaju, he campaigns for our candidates.
Yeah, but
when he speaks as president,
right,
he has to say, I'm going to be neutral. And we expect him to do that.
His first responsibility is to the Nigerian people.
Yes.
And the point remains that if you, as you suggest, this policy is targeting the APC, and if, as you suggest, you're saying, well, where in the world do you have a president who doesn't, or a team, the APC presidency, that doesn't seem to be, enacting policies that are in consonance with the party itself?
No, I didn't say that. Please, let me correct you. As I said, I used my words very precisely. I said, where in the world is a sitting government not campaigning for its party? I didn't talk about policies.
But doesn't that suggest...
I didn't talk about policies.
Okay, I understand that.
All right.
Doesn't that suggest that there is a major disconnect, certainly an issue of trust between that government and the party?
Look, I can't speak for the party, and I can't speak for the federal government either, okay, because I'm a state governor, okay? And to conflate the activities of a few cowards hiding behind the one finger of the president, okay, to do all kinds of things with the government itself or with the presidency, I think you are giving too much importance to a handful of cowards. They are cowards because they have never contested elections. Some of them are not even members of any political party. They are just opportunists, okay? But to conflate their activities, which are very damaging, I admit, to conflate their activities with that of the president or presidency or the federal government, I think it's giving them too much importance. We will defeat them by the grace of God. We will win this election, okay? Their machinations and calculations will fail. We are not sleeping. We are working hard. We are polling. We know where our strengths are. We know where our weaknesses are. And by the grace of God, we'll win this election.
Right. Okay.
But it is important to call them out so that they don't think that we don't know. We know. And they know that, now they know that we know.
Well, let's go beyond the issues within the APC to the wider political context of Nigeria. How do you gauge the current political temperature with just over 3 weeks to the election? What does it feel like for you at the moment? Does it feel like a game of chance, a gamble on a toss of a dice, given how ethnically and politically riven Nigeria is at the moment?
Well, it is going to be a very interesting election. You know, I don't like giving opinions. I like science. I like data analysis, and we have done a very, very big poll, and we know where all the candidates are. Okay, we are leading. All right, but the election is going to be very tight. It's not going to be a landslide, as we have seen in previous elections. It's going to be very tight, but we are winning.
But your poll is not an independent poll, though, is it?
It is.
I mean, all the independent polls, including that conducted by international companies, have not pointed to your victory.
Yeah, because international companies don't even understand the context. Okay, if you are Bloomberg and you do telephone polls with only 2,000 or 3,000 respondents across Nigeria, you will get it wrong, because only 31% of Nigeria's registered voters have their telephone numbers on the INEC register.
Yeah, but when you've got 5 or 6...
Let me land.
Okay.
No, I can take all, you know.
Yeah.
Look.
I mean, the probability starts to lean in the direction
Charles,
of their results.
Please listen to me. Data analytics is an area I'm very interested in. Okay? And we've been doing this polling from July 2013 when we formed the APC. And it has never been wrong, okay? I can take each of the polls you're talking about and deconstruct them. I'm starting with the Bloomberg one, okay? Telephone poll, 31% of registered voters have their phone numbers on INEC's register. So you're already restricting your sample to 31%. And how many have phones, okay? That's one. Secondly, Bloomberg will equate Anambra State with Kaduna State. We are all states. But the votes that Kaduna State gives can wipe out all the votes of the Southeast, because we have 4-point-something million registered voters, and we actually come out to vote. We have 55% voter turnout. So did Bloomberg take that into account in their sample of 3,000? It's the same thing with the ANA poll. We all looked at them, we've analyzed them, and we decided to do our own poll, which is people on the ground, sample of 38,000. It's not a poll, it's a survey. And we know where we are. And I assure you, we are leading, okay? We are leading, but the election will be tight.
Right, okay. One of the key things in any election, particularly with the APC, as I'm sure you know, this election to a large extent is a referendum on the APC. A crucial campaign issue, which is restructuring. You headed the APC committee on restructuring. You submitted your recommendations a few years ago after the APC listed restructuring as one of its campaign promises in 2015. And the APC even included the issue in its constitution, specifically Article 7 of the APC 2014 constitution, as amended, clearly stating the promotion of true federalism in Nigeria as one of its cardinal aims and objectives. They then set up the El Rufai Committee on True Federalism, which in 2018 submitted or recommended that the APC put its weight behind the popular demand for devolution of powers to the states on issues such as policing and resource control.
Yes.
But that was just a campaign tool, wasn't it? Because it was never implemented.
It was never a campaign tool. It was a serious piece of work, and I take exception.
Well, I mean, you did a serious piece of work, but it wasn't implemented.
Look, I am not a populist politician. That's why I'm not very popular. People either love me greatly or hate me passionately, because I say it as it is. I would not have chaired that committee if it was just for pranks. And I chaired a committee with, I think, 9 governors, many of them my seniors, okay? We worked hard and we did a very good job. And I remember before presenting the final report, the chairman of the party at the time, Chief James Oyegun, and I, John Oyegun, sought audience with the president. And we took him through everything. And he said, this is excellent. This is one of the first steps to reversing some of the damage we did, we the military, because we are trained to think in central unitary terms. He agreed with everything in the report, okay? And said, look, the party should go ahead and get the National Assembly to start work, because it's not really an executive function, but he had no issues with it. we now met with the leadership of the National Assembly and began to engage with them to start the legislative process, because we even drafted the bills for this. If you remember, at that time, there was a gentleman called Bukola Saraki, who was head of the Senate, and he just put his feet down. He was APC. He was elected on APC's platform, but we all know what he is. So essentially, our efforts to try to get that going in 2018 January was sabotaged.
Well, that's
all right. I'm coming.
Yeah, okay.
Please, Charles, I'm coming.
Sure.
All right. So we said, fine. Okay. We will try again. To be fair, the then Speaker Dogara did his best, and 1 or 2 of the bills actually went through first and second reading. That assembly lapsed, and we had a new assembly, and then we started all over again. And some of the bills, like state policing and resource control, actually got to first and second reading in the Senate and in the House. The senator representing Kaduna Central actually got the police state policing bill up to second reading. Okay. Then the National Assembly decided that they will form an ad hoc committee on constitutional reform, that all such bills should be stepped down, and they now did a holistic look at all of this, and now 35 bills have been sent to the president for assent. These 35 bills include devolving things like prisons and so on. Many aspects of that report have been implemented. Did we get state policing? No. What happened? One day, in an interview, the president just said, you know, I'm against state police. So the National Assembly felt they shouldn't touch it. I went to him, I said, Mr. President, we presented this, you accepted it. He said, well, you know, representations were made to me and made me to change my mind. But again,
right.
Some of those elements I'm referring to.
The point, Governor, is that it underscores to the ordinary Nigerian the divisions that we're talking about within the APC, and perhaps more importantly...
you are looking for divisions.
Well, can I make the point?
Yes.
That perhaps more importantly, I mean, why should Nigerians trust any other promises the APC makes going forward? When something as fundamental as this, and is so tied to the security of this country, you can't reach agreement on it.
35 constitutional amendment bills that are all about devolution have been passed. Okay? Did we get state police? Not yet. Will we get it? We will. All right? But at least we've done something.
So in 8 years...
The other party that ruled for 16 years did not do one.
Yeah, but
we have done some in 8 years. Give us some credit.
Right, but you didn't ask the people of Nigeria, you didn't ask them in 2014 and 2015 that you were going to do it within a 12-year period.
No.
You said this is what we aim to do when we get into office. And you had 8 years and you didn't do it.
Charles, the political process is not Arabian Nights that you click like a genie. It takes time. You want to change you want to amend the constitution, you want to change people's mindset that has been fixed for 50 years. It takes time.
Well, it takes political will as well.
We have started, we've done something, and Nigerians should believe us and trust us because we've done something. The other party did jack in 16 years. We've done a lot in 8 years. Did we score 100%? No. But 70% is an A in every university.
Well, I don't know if the Nigerian people would score 70%.
No. As far as devolution is concerned, we've achieved 70% of what we want to do. And the rest of the work, I assure you, within a year of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu taking over, and we have a majority in the National Assembly, it will be done.
Well, that's what I don't understand. Okay. If you're planning to, if you are confident that you can do it within a year of Tinubu taking over, assuming he wins, why couldn't you do it in 8 years? Because
we had some fifth columnists like Bukola Saraki and others that frustrated
but it's the same party.
No,
it's the same party. If Tinubu wins, he's already pointing to the same fifth columnist.
No. You see, the beauty of this democracy and the shake-up of 2018 is that most of these double agents left the party. They have gone back where they came from, which was the PDP. Look, the heart of the APC consists of 3 parties that have been in opposition, that have never ruled at the federal level: ACN, CPC, and ANPP. Some PDP guys joined us, and if you check, most of them have gone back. Okay? It was the shakedown of 2018. Okay? They only came in 2014 because they saw that Jonathan was going to lose. So they came for the opportunity, not because ideologically they had any affinity. And they sabotaged President Buhari from day one. Our party is more settled now. Okay? We know those that are truly committed. We know those that are not. We are not likely to end up with the President of the Senate or Speaker of the House that we have doubts about. And the legislative process will be much faster. We have achieved something.
Right.
Now, Charles, let me come back to something. You know, constantly in this conversation, you've been searching for divisions. Okay? There are no divisions. We have, look, every political party is collection of tendencies. All right? We always have tendencies. But on this matter of the election, on this matter of electing Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, we are united. The 22 APC governors are one. No division. Okay? Yes, there are elements that are trying to frustrate us, and those elements are unelected, unelectable, and essentially parasiting on Buhari's name and legacy. All right? That's no division. Okay?
Right.
Now, look at the other parties and tell me, why are you not looking at division in the PDP? There is no division there.
I wouldn't be discussing that with you. I'd be discussing it with the PDP. We've had PDP people all week.
Precisely. So,
yeah.
But I am saying that a party that is in the federal government and has 22 governors is united. Tomorrow we are going to meet with President Buhari on this matter of currency redesign. We are going to present our facts, and we know him. He will be he will look at facts and logic, and he cares for the sufferings of the common man, and he is not proud to say, oh, I've extended once, I will not extend. If the facts presented to him show that the ordinary Nigerian is suffering from this policy, and what it takes is to elongate it a little bit and work out logistics to ensure that every hardworking Nigerian gets his money, he will do it. We know the president. We've been around him.
Right.
Some of the people that are standing up saying this or that for the president do not know him as I do. I have worked with him for more than 11 years now. We have slaved for him politically. We've worked together when we had nothing, when we were in opposition. Some of us have been detained in this journey. Some of them just came to get the crumbs. So we know the man. We know what he stands for. And this is why, in spite of everything, we have the greatest respect for him. We love him. We know he has a clean heart. And we know he will change his mind when presented with the facts. Some of the facts are not being presented to him about the level of suffering and the problems being caused. We will win our election. We don't need any help there. We can win our election.
Let's turn away from national politics and APC politics to the state that you govern, which is Kaduna State, and the issue of insecurity there, with many people touched and traumatized by incidents of violence, lawlessness. We hear of massacres, bandits on the rampage, reprisal attacks. What's the state of play with regard to insecurity in Kaduna State? Have things improved, worsened, or remained the same in the last few months?
I think they have improved significantly in the last few months. Okay, the major challenge in the last 2-3 years has been the banditry, which has taken a life of its own. But with the recent onslaught, combined ground and air onslaught by the military, and we are very grateful to the Chief of Army Staff for bringing 2 special forces battalions from the northeast to Kaduna, and the Chief of the Air Staff for using the air power, drones, helicopter, gunships, and so on to really target and wipe out the bandits, which is something I've been calling for 3 years, but it's being done now, and things are much, much better. In the 23 local governments of Kaduna State, we still have residual issues of banditry in about 3 or 4 local governments, but there was a time we had like in 10 local governments. But now in many of the local governments, it's a thing of the past. Kidnapping has become an industry which will take time to totally wipe out. But the most disturbing aspects of the banditry, I think have been wiped out.
Governor, I want to thank you very much indeed for coming in to talk to us today. And Mallam Nasir El Rufai is the governor of Kaduna State. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Charles. Good to see you after so many years.
Good to see you.